So today is day 5. Probably gonna include day 5 and day 6 in the same video because uploading a new Hilux video today. I'm in my S10. Now I'm not gonna go out in public, so don't freak out. I'm going to my house to cut grass because the rain has been so bad that my grass is getting like knee-high over the past few days. So going to cut grass, and then I'm coming straight back here, nowhere in between. Alright, now that that's done, I'm gonna head back to the shop and work on the truck some more. I know I said I'd probably make day 5, day 6 one episode, but the Hilux video I uploaded while I was at my house is 32 minutes long, and it's uploaded, but the processing is taking forever. So I don't know if it'll actually be processed today or not. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing is posting day 5 regardless, because yeah, I don't know if the Hilux video will post today or not. So back to my prison. So I've just made it back to the shop from cutting grass. I picked up my mail while I was there, and well, just stuff that was like not bills or anything, but like junk mail, stuff that I went through. I got an envelope that was sent to me. Forgot all about this, but so a month ago I saw this meme. Here it is, and my inner nerd just absolutely started dying laughing about it. It's, if you've ever played World of Warcraft or Magic the Gathering or anything, it's just really funny with the guy with this whole deck out in front of him, and then this one dude has this one card like this, and so here's the card. There we go. Day of Judgment, destroy all creatures. I thought it was so funny because this dude basically had won the game, and then this guy has this, and bam, done. And my friend Connor, he actually has a cardboard game store up in Colorado, and he sent me this. I'll put a link to his store and everything, but I just wanted this for my display case at home with all my Gundams and stuff. It literally made me lol so hard whenever I opened it and saw this. So appreciate it, man. Thanks. Okay. New day, new episode. Well, I'm lying. Kind of a new day. Still in quarantine, feeling a little bit better. Let's do some welding. That's what we're gonna do today. A lot of welding. Alright, that motor mount is done. That bolts up right there. Now, we're going to put the bag in on this side because it's cool enough that I can touch the steel, so I know it's cool enough that it won't melt the bag if it touches it. So we're going to do that real quick, and we'll put the spindle in. Alright, front bag brackets are in. I got to trim those little nipples off the end, but that's not a big deal. I'll just cut them with the grinder, and then they'll look all pretty. Next up, I'm gonna do the motor mount on the other side, just to kind of get off the ground. My back's hurting a little, so we're gonna do that real quick. And by the time I'm done with that, this should be cool enough that I can get the bag in and put the spindle back on. Okay, so instead of hyperlapsing paint drying, which is no fun, I'm going to go over and we're going to put the motor mount in on that side and see what we're looking like. Alright, so math time. Center point of this is 13.75 based off the frame rail measurements. So I built the motor mount to go there and also push the motor over. So we're going to put this in here and make sure that the math I'm not so good at is correct. I meant to do that. Dang it, I thought that was on hyperlapse. Well, did that in real time. Alright, let's try that again. See if I can do it more gracefully. Exactly where it needs to be. So I'm going to grab the grinder and the welding machine, and I'm going to weld that bad boy in. Alright, so before I start cutting out that firewall section, I need to hook the motor up to the forklift, and I need to pull some weight off of it because I'm kind of scared to do too much without it supported. So I'm going to hook it up and lift that up, then I'm going to cut the firewall out. This is going too smooth. I'm going to run into some big snag, watch. Mark my words. Some big snag. Magic. Okay, so that motor mount's in. Now I have to do the other side, but before I do the other side, I'm probably going to go put that bag in on that side, because I honestly don't have any clue in the world on which way I want to do the mount. Now I've got two ways. I can use the existing front mount, but I don't know. I got to think about it a little bit more, and I got another way where I can use some of the bracketry on the side, but that's a lot of work. So I do not know how I'm going to do this yet. So I need some time to think. So while I think, I'm going to go to that side. I'm going to install the bag. Alright, like I said, I'm going to stick the bag in there. Pretty simple, straightforward process. And it's almost done. I almost screwed up. Do probably need to go on and bolt in the bottom spindle first. Yep, let's go on and do the spindle first, because if I do it this way, I have this plate modified so I can easily get to the bolt, and the socket still fits. So let me go and do that real quick. So we will hyperlapse that, because that's going to be boring. there. While I had everything taken apart, I wanted to put this on. Just because it looks so good. New parts always make it feel good that you're getting somewhere with your build. So the truck will be black and it'll be done like a John Player Special Lotus. I love that era and I love those cars. And so that's the base gold, and then I will go through pinstripe it a little and go over with black, pull pinstripes off, then we have that signature John Player gold and black look for it. Doing the front cover also now. I can't wait to get that done. It's so good. I have to do something I really don't want to do because I have a headache and I have no ear protection. I'm going to cut that piece of metal out about there. And then I'll re-weld it once I get the motor back in. But, God, I don't want to do that. Alright, well, no sense in putting it off. Here we go. I don't know why I've been putting that off. I've been putting it off. I just didn't want to do it for some reason. I think it's just because I'm tired, maybe. But that's cut, so now I can do things and such and make that fit. I'm so tired after last night with all the wiring. But at least I'm in the finish line, so I'm gonna move on to something different. Okay, so part of this is saving this piece. I don't want to buy another one just because on the internet they want a fortune for them, but this is not bad. I can save this very easily. It's just a matter of elbow grease. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna start working on it. I got to get this foam pad off, and yeah, so let's get started. Off to a good start. Got a long more way to go, but a little bit more scrubbing and we'll be where we need to be to start the repair process of that monster. So, okay, so I did something else. I couldn't really film it because I'm only one person right now, and putting the tripod just anywhere wasn't doing it. But I got the motor all the way in. I got the transmission mounted into the trans mount. So now I can start on the mounts, but that's going to be for tomorrow because it is dark outside and I'm tired. I want a bath and I want to eat some dinner and start fresh tomorrow, but it's in. So that's where she's going to sit. I got to connect the mount, connect the other mount, and then I'll put the wiring harness on it. Pretty proud of that. I did that all by myself, which was a pain in the ass by myself doing that. I know it doesn't sound like a pain in the ass, but that thing, putting the wrong motor in the wrong car with the wrong transmission and the wrong motor, that was not fun. So, cool. All right, I'm on day 6, isolation. As you guys probably saw in the new Hilux video, I got a whole lot accomplished on this. So now to get more accomplished, I'm going to try to go through and get the air suspension and everything in. And I'm also going to try to get the steering rack situation done. Pretty close on that. I gotta get somebody to run to the store and get a couple of gaskets for me and a timing picture. One of those. So I'm going to hop on the phone and do that. Alright, so I've missed a few little filming things, but nothing major. I thought about it after doing this. I'm getting the rack ready to go in. So what I've done is I've got my Celica rack laid in here exactly where it needs to be. And I've got it taped down just to hold it. Vice grips weren't working really good. And, you know, duct tape works great. So I'm going to switch the camera around and show you guys what's going on here. Alright, magic. Okay, so these plates here are for my bolts to go through and bolt the rack down. The rack has to be set up this high for clearance issues and for alignment for the spindles to go straight across. And then this will have some tube either coming off the sides or the center going to the factory cross member frame section. I am going to have to cut right here. That little area, you can kind of see it. It's been marked, a little scored. I've got to cut that section out, and I'm going to put a piece of pipe in and weld a cap on the bottom so that the bolt will drop straight through. But that is the steering rack conversion for this. Now, one thing, this steering rack does have to go behind the cross member because, and I didn't realize it until Zach pointed this out to me, and it never even crossed my mind, but with it being from a front-wheel drive car, when you turn right, the rack goes left, and whenever you turn left, the rack goes right. It's based off of where it pushes on the spindle down there. So putting it in like this gets it in the correct position. I keep all my power steering. Everything should clear. I've got to run to the hardware store and get some bolts, and then we'll pretty much be done. But I am going to cut this before I go to the hardware store. I need to get a little piece of scrap pipe and see what we got. And yeah, so dang, man, running out of things to do. The truck is almost done. Well, I got to weld up the firewall, but that ain't nothing. Alright, so I got my little piece of pipe in there, and it fits really good. So now, go get some hardware, and then we'll figure out where we need to build the bracing to attach to the subframe, and go from there. I'm going to do a little bit of a little minor welding on it, but nothing major. So. But off to the hardware store. Alright, back from the hardware store. Got that bolt in. Now to assemble it and get it underneath the truck. Alright, rack is assembled. I'm really happy with how this rack came out. So now, time to, for real, put it under there. Alright, I know this is like a jumble of me talking and different things in this video. It's been a few days. I'm still up here at my shop, but it has taken the better part of probably 2 days to get the rack in and working. So I'm glad I did it like this because Zach would be right. This would be like episode 20 of 5 episodes if I did it another way. But rack is in. Everything's pretty much in its final spot. You can see that bad boy down there. But next for tomorrow, I am going to get the box welded up behind the dash, get all the wiring plugged back up, probably get the dash back in, put in some of the DEI sound mat, and yeah. Oh, and wire up the compressor because they are plumbed. I'll walk you guys back there and show you that. Suspension is done. Oh, I don't know if it caught that, but the front air suspension is done. I've hidden the tank under the bed, and I'll hide the compressor under the bed. Now, I've also left enough room by measuring that the Supra independent rear suspension I want to put in will fit, but that'll be later because I'm missing a driver's side spindle. So until I can get one for that, I can't do the IRS rear end. But rear end is plumbed, and we can bag the, the front end is plumbed, wired, and everything's ready to go. Just as soon as I can get the dash wiring finished, I can finish plugging up these, I can mount the compressor, and go from there. But not bad for a bunch of junk parts I had laying around. All this pipe is just spare pipe I had, and just made the best out of it, instead of it just sitting on a shelf. These are the wheels I'll be running. Alright, super loud, another day, it's all back together. Let me get away from the forklift. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to put it on the ground and see how low it is. So that's pretty good. That's kind of where I wanted it. I didn't want to lay frame, so pretty happy. I gotta adjust this bag, just push it back just a little, but all in all, pretty good. Okay, so that only took forever, but not a big deal. I can go in, I can weld that in now. It's just stuff like that takes forever, but we're getting there. Need to get the fuel rail on. We're probably ready for that, honestly. And I can start wiring it. And what else? Oh, I can start working on the header some more. All right, so I got the radiator in. I did 2 little brackets at the bottom, got all that welded in. I got the one radiator line ran. The one other one is going to be a little bit tricky. I've got exhaust on this side, so what I'm going to have to do is route it 90 and then come over. And I think what I'm going to do is maybe go down with it. Oops, sorry. What I'm going to do is route it 90, come down and around, and then probably go under the subframe maybe. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to run it yet, but I got to avoid the exhaust. But in all honesty, bringing it up through here and then over to there with maybe a piece of aluminum pipe, that's probably going to be the best way. But it's coming along. I do have to shorten the intake manifold. I'm going to shorten and clock it. So that all that works a little bit happier. And I'm thinking about moving all the electrical systems, because it's long enough, to that side, because I can put the airbox here and then everything kind of looks a little bit better. Whereas I don't like cars that have that intake tube that cut across, so I'd rather just have an intake tube that comes over. So we will see. Progress. Alright, so I'm getting the wiring in. I've had to redo the harness a little bit, kind of tuck it and move it around, because I can't put in the little piece of firewall patch I need until I know that everything works. I also got to do a little bit of plumbing, but I almost have all the wiring figured out. And so coming moving along. Kind of running out of things to do also, but might start it up. Maybe. Alright, so cutaway. I have pretty much the fuse panel where it's gonna stay permanently. ECU is where it needs to be. Wiring is pretty much going where it has to be. Gotta track down 2 wires on the harness for the knock sensor and this guy here, which is the crank position sensor. I think it's on the other side of the harness, so I'll have to cut it loose and then again route more back through and backwards and then to it. But all in all, we're getting there. Okay, so hey YouTube, update. I know I can't find my my wires that I've been looking for. This motor has a single wire knock sensor. My harness has a 2-wire knock sensor, so I have the wrong harness. I've modified the entire engine harness wrong. The correct harness is actually the one hanging on my wall. So now I'm going to modify that one to work in this by taking that one off and just matching it exactly short of the 2 knock sensor and crank position sensor plugs and go from there. So okay, so now I gotta make that harness like this one and trim that one down a little bit better than what this one is. I cannot believe I did this. So I'm going through, extending everything. There's the wires I was looking for. Great. I'm stupid. Anyway, going through, extending everything, rewrapping everything. I could only cut apart so much over there, so this was to go through and make sure that everything's long enough. And now this guy is super duper long. But back to wrapping it up, and I'm going to go and get it test fitted on the motor and see where we are. So this has made me lose 1 day where I should have had the firewall back in, but not a problem. I have tomorrow, so here we go. Okay, I almost have everything ran correctly again. I had to redo the injectors and get the knock sensor, the cam sensor pushed all the way back, but getting close. So that's gonna do it for tonight. I'm gonna get back at it in the morning so I can weld up the firewall now that everything is plugged in. Oh my God, thankfully that is over. All right, put the firewall in. I'm not gonna be able to crank it. They shut down Georgia, so today will probably be my last day working on it for 2 weeks. So let's get as much done today as we can. Alright, so I got the hood to close. I had to change the intake a little bit. Before, it was sitting up high, and I changed it to an angle like this, where it's a little bit more even. But I'm going to order some parts from Vibrant because I want long runners, and I'm going to change it to something like this with a longer runner. But at least the hood closes. About to get the back work on it. I've been thinking about doing like a D1 style vent in the hood, or even maybe cutting it and rolling it like a Lotus. And I'm kind of feeling the the Lotus roll. Basically, I know this is in the dust, but cut it along there, and then I would also, let's see, it'd have to stay more boxy. Cut it something like that, and then roll this and roll that, and then put some sheet metal in. I might do that. Give it more of a Lotus look. I'd probably move it way more forward though. But yeah. In fact, I'm probably gonna do that, but not now. I don't have time to do that now. I got to get everything else put together. So back to the firewall. All right, so here's the framework I'm working on the firewall. I am gonna weld in a little box and riv nut it so that I'll have an access panel so I can get back here if I ever got to change the solenoid or something to make it easy. So I'm about to try to frame that up and go from there. I got a little bit of sheet metal in on the other side, but that's coming together pretty nice. I'm just running out of time in the day because, like I said, this is the last day I'm going to work on it for 2 weeks because the state is shutting down. So, trying to get as much done as I can. Well, as much as I tried, and with how hard I tried to finish the truck this episode, didn't happen. State of Georgia, like I said, is shutting down. Everything's closed. Mandatory stay-at-home order. My quarantine is over. Ready to get home prior to being here. But I got a lot accomplished on the truck. Hate that I can't get it done. I'm so close. I mean, so close. Kind of a bummer. I mean, I am so daggone close. There's just not enough time in the day. I've got to pack up a bunch of stuff from here and put in my truck. Got the firewall in. I do have to cut the little access panel so I can get to the back if I ever got to work on the VVTi solenoid and stuff like that. But I'm going to leave it a mess. And in 2 weeks, hopefully 2 weeks, we will return and work on it some more.